I am Lord Odokuro, and this is my tomb, and let's talk about some Yu-Gi-Oh! The Reptilian archetype uses dark reptile monsters and supported spell and trap cards to drop the attack stat of monsters to 0. Following up with effects such as taking control and destroying said monsters with 0 attack. Originally including only one synchro monster, Hydra, later a Link 2 was added and new support followed. Sadly for Snake Lady lovers, the new cards were pretty lackluster. Hopefully we can improve the environment so they can shed their old skin and become the snake mommies we know they could be. So let's take a look at some of the cards we have to work with, what went wrong, and what could be added without being so good it creates problems and gets banned. Reptile support. We have cards like Snake Rain, offering to the snake deity, a sinister serpent. Yoi, Imperia, Nightsword Serpent, Lamia, Black Mamba, Vanguard of the Underground Emperor, Dark Alligator, Wicked Acolyte Clement Sabak, Evil Dragon Anita, Spawn Alligator, Razor Lizard, Reptilia, Egg, okay, Snake Whistle, Damage equals Reptile, Viper's Grudge, Molting Escape, Attack Pheromones. Yes, we are going to leave a few out, but that's going to be alright. We have the Abyss cards, and we are going to be calling them Abyss because I can't pronounce Duodic. It sounds weird. Now, while a lot of these cards do work with reptiles, focusing on them kind of takes away from the playstyle of Reptilianne. So we will be limiting them to just a few play starters or support. So our win condition falls onto these 4 cards. Starting with the Link, you need at least 1 reptile. When Link summoned, you drop the attack of one of your opponent's monsters to 0. It still has its effect, but during your main phase, if you manage to drop the attack or if there is just a 0 attack, you can add to your hand reptiles with different names equal to the number of 0 attack monsters your opponent controls. So the more you pour into the setup, the more you can get out of it, but it's not worth it. This isn't dinos. You can't destroy your own stuff to get advantage. Your opponent has to have a board. But you can set this monster up by using Reptilian Spawn. 2 tokens meets the requirements, but it's only a stepping stone to our bigger mommies. Well, no, we're not going to lie. We're all into her. Hydra needs a Reptilian tuner and a non-whatever. It lets you destroy all 0 attack monsters your opponent controls, and for each that does get destroyed, you can draw a card. Not bad, and an easy way to wipe the field and get some draws. But she only works when synchro summoned, and her 2100 attack isn't going to be running over much. Our new synchro, we're just going to call her Melu. I think it's supposed to be a pun on Medusa and Lucin or something. It's a level 8, needing only a reptile tuner. She's a bit easier to make for this deck, but also has destruction protection if you use reptiles to make her. Only reptiles to make her. That's a real treat. Each time your opponent uses a monster effect, you can target a monster to drop its attack. It doesn't have to be the monster that used the effect. It's just one and pow, 0 attack. Plus, if your opponent does get her off of the field, you can add a reptile from your deck to the hand. But really, we're here for the best snake mommy, Vaski. No normal summon or special summon for her. You got to use her effect to bring her out, and that's tributing 2 monsters with 0 attack on either field. Plus, you get a once per turn target that destroys face-up monsters. I mean, it's not the greatest boss monster, but you know, it's what we got to work with. What went wrong? Well, first, needing to interact with face-up monsters on your opponent's field means first turn plays are limited Second, the lack of special summoning leads to fewer monsters on the board for either link or synchro plays. There are a few combos that will allow for more monsters, but said monsters lack protection or field control. Either the opponent has some monsters to reduce attack, or you're next to no plays. And a major issue is the two lollies. Both Little Nyami and Little Lamia's effects do not need to be a pick only one per turn. Nyami has 200 attack, so it's limited in the fact that it can't naturally be used for Voski. Both require a reptile on the field or graveyard to use, and even with the Abyss archetype being a thing, they do not support the playstyle of Reptilianne. Combining Reptilianne, Gardna, and Yamo, I'm not going to say all of that, takes too much setup to generate advantage. Medusa doesn't have a built-in special summon and only sends a card from your hand instead of discarding, so using Tsuchinoko doesn't benefit from using it. Snake Rain is a great way to dump 4+ reptiles into the graveyard, but there is so little to work with. Luckily, we have Night Sword Serpent, a generic reptile that once per turn special summons itself from the graveyard if it is sent there by a card effect. So both Snake Rain and Abyss Water Lily can turn into a quick summon. And it's level 4, working perfectly with both our Synchro and XYZ Imp. But remember, it does banish itself afterwards, and it's once per turn, so you might not want to dump more than one with Snake Rain. Lamia may be one of the best card starters in the deck can use, if there were good level 8s that could push the objective. Being able to add a level 8 reptile when either normal or special summoned on either turn is nice, and the bonus of protecting a reptile from effect destruction is great. Until you realize it has to be banished to activate, and it doesn't do so itself. But let's look at what the level 8s this lady can get you. First, we have the Wicked Acolyte. No, the normal summon isn't worth. The revival effect wouldn't be bad if it was general and not by battle, so turning into a tuner is a waste of time and resources. Dark Alligator, tribute 1 reptile isn't so bad, but being 2500 attack feels a little low. And how about its effect? When tribute summoned, special summon reptile dark level 1/0/0 tokens up to the number of monsters tributed. Oh, okay, so it's, if we use one, we get one. Just that's still the use of your normal summon, and it needs a reptile to set up. But we have spawn, so what else does Dark Alligator do? If this tributed monster is destroyed by an opponent, add a reptile to the hand. Okay, this is it works better than Wicked, but no. Vanguard of the Underground Emperor. Who is this Underground Emperor, and why does he need a Vanguard? It doesn't matter. Level 8, 2600 attack. Okay. But it's Earth. We would prefer some Dark so we can have a little cohesion with our Reptilians. But, you know, everything else looks pretty good. If this card is in your graveyard and a monster is sent from your hand to the graveyard, either player, you can special summon this card, but place it at the bottom of your deck when it leaves the field with a big once per turn. I would say so far my favorite, but you know, putting it in the hand isn't a great start. And you know, we still have our Rain and we have Lily, and even though it's once per turn, you can still dump 2 of these and then just use both of them on different turns. The classic Evil Dragon. You have to banish all of the reptiles in your graveyard to summon this, and it gets 600 attack and defense per. Your in phase 1 target destruction is slow, but you know, it gets front and back row. And the banishment does activate Lamia. So Lamia's in the graveyard, banish her, you get Evil Dragon out. Lamia's effect will activate because it's now been banished, so your Evil Dragon does get a little bit of protection. Sadly, if somebody negates its effect, its attack will go back down to 0. It's the King and Queen Abyss. No, they have no discard effect, and they need 2 tributes to special summon from the graveyard. While they work together, when getting both into the graveyard and having 4 monsters to tribute. Yeah, that's a bit much. Okay, we're going to move on. Well, it looks like the Snake Ladies gets us a Snake Lady. Voski, which is in fact a level 8. So Lamia looks like a card that we can use. Black Mamba doesn't feel super venomous, being a level 3 monster with only 1300 attack. Wait. Does it say if you control a reptile, you can special summon this card from your hand? Alright, we're keeping it. This is a much needed extender. And if normal or special summoned, target an opponent's monster, mill a reptile to change its position. Well, the mill isn't bad, but we already have Snake Rain and Water Lily. But either way, it's an extender, and yeah, we're going to keep it. Yomori Mori is a cute little critter. And while it needs to be in your graveyard and you control a reptile, the fact that the second effect destroys your monster to zero out your opponent is very much in the realm of what this deck is trying to do, so maybe we're going to run just one of it. Uwu bonus, the avatar of Maois, comes in with a little attack and defense reduction of 300. It's not great, but maybe it could be enough. Who knows? You contribute a reptile to special summon this card from your hand once per turn. No, it's not great. It's not bad. It's pretty lackluster, and there's plenty of better cards, but we're trying to stay consistent. You contribute one monster, then all monsters your opponent controls loses attack and defense by the attack of the tributed monster. This thing does in fact include itself. Once per turn, also not great, but yeah, okay, yeah, it is kind of bad. The need to tribute again to reduce the attack does kind of suck, plus you need a higher attack monster to really make it worth it. But of course that's going to be based off of what the field has already. Okay, so here's a few monsters that we can mention. We got Sinister Serpent. You know, it's old school, it's slow, not a lot of cards that need discarding. We have Yowie, a Summon Time Seal, Ipara, whatever. Another little lizard, a once per turn draw on summon. It's not a bad card. Matter of fact, there's a couple of decks right now that can abuse it to get a draw every turn just off of it. Unfortunately, this is not going to be one of those decks, at least not yet. Now some spell and traps. We have Snake Rain. We've been talking about this. You can send 4 reptiles to your graveyard at the cost of a discard. So potentially you can discard a reptile to send 4 reptiles. That's 5. Viper's Rebirth. If there are only reptiles in your graveyard, you could special summon a non-tuner reptile. Where's Monster Reborn? Just use Monster Reborn. Just use Monster Reborn, okay? Viper's Rebirth kind of sucks. It's not even a Reptilianne card. Offering to the Snake Deity. Target 1 face-up reptile you control, and 2 cards your opponent controls. And it's pretty much like Icarus Attack. Serpent Suppression. Face-up attack position monsters with 0 attack your opponent controls cannot be destroyed by battle with reptilian monsters. What in the unholy snake god is this? It's trash. And how is it suppression? Damage equals reptile. Once per turn, when you take damage from battle involving a reptile, you can summon a reptile from your deck with attack equal to or less than the damage taken. If the game was more battle focused, maybe, and it would be a good way to get Iperia on your opponent's turn for a draw, but it's not really usable. Snake Whistle is close to being in the same boat. It's another trap, but activates when a reptile you control is destroyed. Just destroyed, so it doesn't matter how, just get it destroyed. Special summon a level 4 lower reptile monster from your deck. At least this can work with Yamoi and Offering. Viper's Grudge. Nice little chunk of text here. Maybe it'll do something good. My non-reptiles cannot attack. Not great, but we're running 99% reptile, so maybe we can get it to work. And I cannot activate their effects. Okay. I can only use the following once per turn. If a face-up reptile is destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard, I can special summon 1 level 4 or lower reptile from the deck. If this card is destroyed in the back row, return all of your banished reptiles to the graveyard. So the downside of being only able to use reptiles turns into a good consistent summon of reptiles just to have this card return your banished snakes. This would be a pretty good card, but what reptiles are we banishing from the graveyard? And can getting them back give us advantage? So far, I would say not. And not for what we're doing. Right now, we have cards that do banishing. Our Reptile Spawn, Night Sword Serpent, Yamoi. There's Sinister Serpent, Lamia, and Evil Dragon Anita. Okay, I'll take that back. I think that's a nice little chunk. Oh, Vexoria. I guess I'll have to talk about them. So we're looking at 4 Abyss cards. We're looking at Dawn of Creation, Water Lily, and the Light and Dark Drag or Remnant or whatever they're called in the TCG. I don't care. Their names are kind of stupid. Yes, I know these old bones was talking mad smack about the archetype, but these 4 cards actually do really help out our playstyle. They don't shift, they don't change, and we're not really losing the board that we're looking for. And you know, they're starter cards, so it's not going to be like we're ending the board on Abyss monsters. Both of them have 0 attack. They're level 4. They have discard effects, and they can be played right away. Dark discards to mill the light, and vice versa. Summon Dark to add a spell or trap, and special summon Light from the graveyard, but banish it when it leaves. Their body's on board, and they give cards to the hand. Water Lily is a foolish, plus a possible reborn for your snakes. And Dawn tributes to make tokens per 2 level. And main phase banish it to shuffle a banished snake, then mill another snake. And you can have both on the same turn. Yeah, I think these are going to be the only Abyss cards that we're going to be running. What the deck needs, and the ideas for new cards. How about a Serpent Suppression that doesn't suck? Like, maybe negating opponent's monsters with 0 attack? Okay, add while you control a reptilian monster. Don't want just anyone spamming this card. Let's add a spell, continue a spell. You can only activate this card's name once per turn. When activated, special summon 1 reptilian from your hand. Once per turn, when your opponent controls attack is... Okay, how about when a monster your opponent controls attack is reduced to 0, add 1 reptile monster from your graveyard or banish to your hand. Okay, it's not overpowered. A once per turn hand replenishment. An easy summon from hand. And only maybe the level 5 plus is Medusa. And she's not good enough to worry about. The only future proofing to worry about would be for the new snake ladies that are level 5 or higher. Now a good monster, let's start with level 4, and of course Dark Reptile. Make the artwork look like the lady from the show. Non-tuner, so just an effect monster. We'll make her attack 18, defense 13. That we could change that later if we have to. How about when normal summoned, add a reptilian monster, and maybe if special summoned, add a reptilian spell or trap card. Use the spell to special summon the lady. Use the lady to search the trap. No normal summon used. Okay, and let's add if the monster your opponent controls with 0 attack is destroyed, you could special summon this card from the graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. Okay, and then all of these effects could be like a once per turn. Okay, so maybe it's not going to be like a tier 1 deck, but I think these 3 cards could really make Reptilian a rogue status. We're going to have to think about some extra deck monsters a little bit later. Alright, I have thought about it. How about a Link 3? 2800 attack, Dark Reptile, with the effect of monsters with 0 attack are switched to attack position. This effect would affect both players. Then, a once per turn quick effect, destroy 1 monster on the field with 0 attack. Then, if it is sent to the graveyard, inflict damage to its controller equal to its original attack. All in all, I think with these 4 cards, we have a main deck monster, an extra deck monster, and a new spell and trap card. Each one actually fit with the playstyle of dropping your opponent's monsters attack to 0, as well as being able to do some form of controlling effect to them. There's a little bit of synergy with the cards that already exist, as well as boosting the playability of cards that already exist. So Medusa, while not being great, is now actually playable because it can just be special summon from hand thanks to our spell card. And with another extra deck monster having good attack being 28, it might not be able to punch over everything, especially with a lot of extra deck monsters with a base attack of 3000. But I think it is a good start since we are actually dropping monsters to 0, being able to negate some effects, inflicting some burn damage, and then getting our banished cards back. So if we decide to run Allure of Darkness, or if we are banishing cards with Dark Dragon Anita, then at least we have the ability to get some of these cards back to our hand, so we can further these plays. And so these are some of the ideas that I have. If you have ideas for other cards to help support the Reptilian archetype, leave your comments and ideas down below. Like and subscribe, and you can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter. It doesn't really matter. I try not to post too much, but you can always follow me there. I try to keep everybody posted. I stream on Twitch, YouTube, and Kick, all under the same name, Lord Odokuro, and thank you for watching.